Hey guys, what's up? Today you'll hear a quick recap of the movie Seven Prisoners. Mateus lives with his family in a tiny village in Brazil. They barely make ends meet, and even buying a new t-shirt is a big deal. But today Mateus needs to look sharp. He's heading to the big city to start a good job. A minibus shows up with Gilson inside. He hands Mateus's mom 1,000 reais and promises that from now on, money will keep coming. She's proud of her son. In the van there are a few other strong young guys. One of them, Samuel, already has a fiancée waiting for him at home. Clapperboard Gilson hypes them up, saying he gets his haircut every week and even wears cologne. Mateus is amazed. He's never seen skyscrapers before, and there are cars everywhere. Sao Paulo is just massive. After 5 hours on the road, the men are dropped off at a junkyard and introduced to a man named Luca. From now on, they'll work for him. Most of them have only worked in the fields before. Luca shows them their tiny living quarters and immediately demands their passports to process some paperwork. Tomorrow, the workday starts at 5 a.m. Mateus asks for 20 reais just to grab some food. The guys happily rush to a diner, order drinks, and celebrate the start of their new life. Mateus is the only one who can actually read. Clapperboard Ezekiel has never even slept in a bed before, only in a hammock. Clapperboard the next day, half a ton of copper wires is delivered to the junkyard. The crew has to strip them. Luca shows them how. It looks simple enough. They also have to sort stainless steel and unload trucks full of scrap metal. Mateus calls home to say everything's fine, but then his phone credit runs out. The men work from sunrise until late at night. Luca keeps counting his money, but the workers don't see a single real. One day, Luca interrupts their lunch and orders them to handle a new delivery. Mateus complains, saying they agreed to be paid for every delivery. They've already done 30, but haven't been paid once. Clapperboard that's when the truth comes out, they all owe a debt. The ride, the food, the housing, everything has a price. Mateus loses it and heads for the exit, but Nando, the big guy, punches him hard in the stomach. After that, Luca demands their cell phones too. The others give theirs up. Isaac even gets slapped a few times before handing his over. So how much do they owe? 1,000 reais advance, 5,000 for the middleman, 3,000 a month for housing, 700 for food, the list goes on. Naive Samuel doesn't even get what's happening. He thinks, well, if we owe them, we just gotta pay. But Mateus tells everyone to pack their stuff. They try to escape in the middle of the night, but the door is locked. And there's no way to climb over the barbed wire fence. Mateus tried to steal the keys, but Luca caught him and pulled a gun on him. The bearded guy dragged the runaways back to the dorm and locked the door. Now the prisoners started planning another escape. Isaac said they should just kill Luca, but Mateus knew the guy wasn't stupid, they needed to be smarter. Next time Luca went to open the gate, Samuel stuffed his mouth with toothpaste and faked a seizure. Ezekiel chickened out, but Mateus smacked Luca with a pipe. The three of them ran for the exit. Unfortunately, Nando was waiting with a gun. Only Isaac managed to get away. But the cops are on Luca's side. They brought Isaac back and choked him with a plastic bag in front of everyone. And the police? Yeah, they know exactly where the workers' families live. The guys who tried to escape got punished. No showers, no toothpaste, no food. They were already behind on 6 deliveries, so now they had to work even harder. That's how the men became modern-day slaves. They could scream all they wanted, but nobody would hear them. They went back to the heavy work. At night, Ezekiel broke down crying, and Isaac tried to beat him up for being weak. He said if not for him, they would have killed Luca already. Mateus stopped the fight. But the next day, there was screaming again. Isaac had cut Ezekiel. Luca looked at it and just said they'd all have to work overtime as punishment. Mateus treated Ezekiel's wound. The guy just wanted to see his grandma again someday. Luka tossed some antibiotics into the room so Ezekiel wouldn't die. The work got tougher, and the food got worse. The men had to keep working no matter the weather. Samuel's back started hurting, but he didn't care. All that mattered was that the gang didn't hurt his fiancée. One week, Luka rewarded them with soda. Matthias pushed for something more. He wanted them to finally get a shower. Isaac still wanted to kill Luka, but Matthias reminded him that wouldn't save their families. Clearly, Luka wasn't running this whole thing alone. Matthias tried to cut a deal with him. If they processed 10 deliveries a day instead of 7, they could pay off their debts in 6 months. Isaac snapped, "We'll die here before that happens." Matthias yelled back at him to shut up and keep working. They pushed harder, and soon they were actually ahead of schedule. Luka realized Matthias was a smart guy. He started keeping him close and giving him small errands, like going out to buy cigarettes. It was a test: would Matthias run away or not? But Matthias knew it was pointless. For staying loyal, he got 2 cigarettes. He even spotted a grammar mistake in Luka's documents. Luka threatened him, but then fixed it. Meanwhile, poor Samuel should have been celebrating 3 years with his fiancée. Instead, he was stuck here. By now, the men had gotten used to slave life. One day they even got a soccer ball. The game had to stop because of a phone call. Luka threw everyone except Matthias into the van and told Nando to just drive around in circles. A surprise inspection was coming. Out of all the slaves, Luka only trusted him. Matthias lied to the inspectors, saying he only worked 8 hours a day and never did overtime. Luka got fined for the crappy mattresses. In the end, Matthias did a good job. When the inspection was over, the rest of the slaves were brought back. After that, the guy was trusted with keeping records and organizing the work. Luka told him to wash up and change. They were going into town. The other workers were already giving him dirty looks. Turned out, Luka was heading out to buy new slaves. The boss told Matthias to pick 3 strong guys himself. Luka paid the money and got the passports of the new slaves. At another prison, there was a whole sewing workshop set up. Dozens of women were working non-stop. In a dark little room, more prisoners were being held. 2 of them were picked and dragged to the van. One guy tried to run, but Matthias caught him and handed him back to the boss. Matthias was also supposed to resell those 2 women for no less than 10,000 reis each. The gang threw the women in with the others and searched the guy. They started pushing him, saying they only dealt directly with Luka. But Matthias told them he wasn't leaving without money. They eventually tossed him 20 grand and told him to get lost. Out on the street, Matthias thought about it. He had a pile of cash and a chance to steal the van. But he didn't dare run, especially since Luka had just paid him. Slaves were brought in by plane, ship, or in containers, just like any other product Matthias dealt with. And, honestly, he had something to brag about. His crew was supplying the whole city with copper wiring. Thanks to them, everyone had electricity. That evening, new workers arrived at the base. Matthias was cutting their zip ties when Isaac hit him in the head with a rock. From now on, the assistant had to sleep in the office. If he stayed in the barracks, he'd be stabbed for sure. Then Matthias suddenly said he didn't want to do this anymore. "And what do you want?" Luka asked. "For your family to starve?" Luka's mom, trying to feed 4 kids, had worked herself into becoming disabled. Was that the kind of freedom Matthias wanted? Soon, the student got a gun and keys to the cell. The slaves greeted the traitor with hatred. Matthias told Samuel he was only doing this to get them out of here. The crew quietly went back to work under the gun. Luka even showed the revolver had an empty cylinder. He didn't trust Matthias that much yet. Now he had him showing the newbies what to do. Matthias couldn't sleep. He knew he'd stepped over to the dark side. He tried to convince his fellow countryman Samuel that it was better if he was the overseer, not Luka. The next day, Matthias got his phone back so he could stay in touch with the crew, but of course, the first thing he did was call his mom. His family got 4,000 reis, and that was just the beginning. That night, Luca took the kid to a nightclub. They got drunk and met some girls. Mateus said he wanted to have 4 kids one day, and now he knew how he could support them. The slaves saw Mateus dragging a drunk Luca into the office. The boss left his gun on the nightstand and passed out. There would never be a better chance to run. Mateus grabbed the gun and was about to free the workers, but then he stopped. Instead, he decided to sneak them some good food while nobody was watching. The men hated him for that. Now he could come and go as he pleased. Mateus dropped off the food and put the gun back. Day after day, the modern slaves kept working under his watch. One time, Luca took him to meet the real boss behind this whole nightmare. Turned out it was a well-known politician, Mr. Branca. Luca was his right-hand man, and now he needed him to set up more sites. Rodney would take care of the dump from now on. Branca told the kid he got into politics for the children, he wanted to leave them a better country. That's when Mateus learned the truth, the slaves were never getting out. They'd never pay off their debt. Luca gave him a choice, become his right hand or go back to his useless old life. He told Mateus he was lucky, one of a kind. Later, Luca even introduced his protege to his family. Luca's mom admitted that they used to live at the dump. Her son pulled them out of hell and made them happy. One day, while the gates were open, Samuel bolted and ran for it. Mateus chased him down, and when he caught him, they fought. Mateus nearly strangled the guy, then dragged him back to the dump. Luca told him to call the cops. The officer asked if they should kill the relative or just scare him. Scare him, Mateus said. That night, the cop sent over a picture of Samuel's mom, beaten, with a gun to her head. Mateus showed the photo to all the prisoners. Poor Samuel could only scream in rage and helplessness. Meanwhile, Luca was filling Branca in. Samuel asked his old friend for a cigarette, but only so he could leave him with a burned scar. All the captives gathered to watch their former fellow slave drive away with his boss. They stayed behind, probably forever.